Warriors, Crookedstar's Promis by Erin Hunter, Chapter 4. Strom Camp blinked at his mother. Are you leaving already? I've gotta go, Rainflower meowed, glancing up at the sky. Why won't she look at me? There's a lot of hunting to do now the fish are back, she went on. Oak-Kit rested his paws on the edge of Storm-Kit's nest. I'll stay, he promised. Storm-Kit tried to catch Rainflower's eye. I wanted to tell you about the moth I caught last night. Confined to the medicine den for a moon, he'd had little chance to hunt. It's been pure luck the moth had flitted into Brambleberry's den. He'd snatched it out of the air with a single paw. Oak-Kit shuffled closer. You can tell me about the moth. It was huge. Storm-Kit leaned toward his mother, but Rainflower was already halfway to the entrance. I promised Rippleclaw I'd join his patrol, she called. Rainflower! Brambleberry backed out of the small hollow in the sedge wall where she stored her herbs. Strange green scents clung to her fur, and there were fragments of leaf on her muzzle where she'd been sorting through her supplies. Rainflower halted. Yes? Storm-Kit could go back to the nursery today, Brambleberry told her. Really? Oak-Kit tumbled into Storm-Kit's nest and started pummeling him playfully with his hind paws. That's great! Come on, lazy bones! So he's better. Rainflower's eyes darkened. She glanced at Storm-Kit. You can't do any more for him? Oak-Kit froze. Mid-pummel. He's got all his ears and whiskers. Storm-Kit heard sharpness in the medicine cat's mew. He can play and practice hunting like any other kit. What more do you want? Rainflower turned away and ducked through the entrance. Fine. Send him back to the nursery then, she called as the tip of her tail disappeared. Storm-Kit tilted his head on one side. Is Rainflower okay? She's just tired from all the hunting, Oak-Kit mewed. Brambleberry flexed her claws. Tired, she echoed dryly. Oak-Kit flicked Storm-Kit's ear with his tail. Come on! He leaped out of the soft moss nest. You've been lying around too long. We need to get you fit. We'll be apprentices in less than 2 moons. I'm afraid not. Brambleberry crossed the den. Storm-Kit's heart lurched. What do you mean? Her blue gaze was clear. You'll have to wait a while to become a paw, little one. Storm-Kit leaped out of his nest. Why? His paws trembled beneath him. You broke your jaw, Brambleberry reminded him. But it's healed, Storm-Kit told her. He opened and closed his mouth to show her. It still felt stiff and lopsided, and it ached if he lay on it during the night. But he knew the bones had mended because the pain wasn't so sharp it made him feel sick. You hardly ate for half a moon, and even now you find it hard. Brambleberry's gaze flicked along Storm-Kit's flank. You need to fill out a bit more before you start your apprentice training. It'll be okay, Oak-Kit mewed. I bet you catch up even if you start training late. He nudged Storm-Kit with his shoulder. Storm-Kit almost fell over. When did Oak-Kit grow so much? He was strong and weighty, more like a paw than a kit. Storm-Kit felt tiny beside him, with hollow flanks and thin legs. He sat down. Was this going to stop him from becoming a warrior? What about clan leader? Could he still be clan leader if he was apprenticed late? Brambleberry touched his head with her muzzle. Oak-Kit's right, she murmured. You'll grow in no time. Just eat well and get some exercise. StarClan is watching over you. There's no reason why you won't be as big as Shellheart by next new leaf. StarClan's watching over me. Storm-Kit dug his claws into the soft ground. I'm going to get big and strong and be the best apprentice ever. Oak-Kit flicked his tail toward the tunnel. Come on, everyone wants to see you. He bounded away and Storm-Kit followed, suddenly excited to be out in the camp again. Thanks, Brambleberry, he called over his shoulder. I'll check on you tomorrow, Brambleberry promised. Make sure you eat well and rest whenever you get tired. Strom Camp burst out into the clearing. dazzled by the sunshine and surprised by the heat. The river chattered beyond the reed bed, and wind swished the rushes. New warrior dens had been woven around the fallen tree. The apprentice's den had grown a warm coating of moss, and the nursery, tucked away in the sedge wall, looked as cozy as ever. Hellstar's den had been rebuilt, its willow stems bright and freshly woven among the roots of the ancient willow. Beetlekit, Volkit, and Petalkit were chasing a ball of moss into the clearing. Mudfur was lying in the shade with Cedar Pelt. Shellheart was sharing fresh kill with Hailstar, Tinglewhisker, and Birdsong at the top of the slope, while Softpaw hauled stale moss from their den. "Are you almost finished, Softpaw?" Followtail, her mentor, was calling from the camp entrance. "I want to teach you a new battle move." "Won't be long," Softpaw answered. Stromkit breathed deep and smelled the mouth-watering tang of newly caught fish. "Are you hungry?" he asked Oatkit. "I ate when the Dawn Patrol got back, but there's fresh kill left if you want some." He flicked his tail toward the pile of fat trout lying beside the reed bed. "Let me get you one." Oatkit raced away. "Stormkit!" Mudfur's rumbling mew sounded across the clearing. The warrior clambered to his paws and padded across the clearing. "It's good to see you up and about." Volkit caught the moss ball Petalkit had just tossed and turned to stare at them. "Stormkit!" He left the ball and came charging across the clearing, Beetlekit and Petalkit on his tail. They dived round Mudfur, nearly tripping over the brown Tom's feet, before skidding to a halt in front of Stormkit. Volkit gasped, "How are you?" Petalkit pushed past her brother. "We kept begging to visit you, but Rainflower wouldn't let us." Her eyes glittered. "Would she, Mudfur?" She looked up anxiously at the brown warrior. "Why does she sound weird?" Mudfur sat down behind the kits. "She was worried you were too sick." Stormkit frowned. He'd begged Rainflower for visitors. Had he really been too sick to see anyone? He'd been in pain, but after half a moon, he'd been as bored and frustrated as a turtle up a tree. Beetlekit was staring at him. "You look funny." "Hush, Beetlekit." Echo Mist came trotting across the clearing. "He looks very well, considering what he's been through." She licked Stormkit between the ears. "I'm so pleased you're out of the medicine den," she purred. "The nursery's been quiet without you." She glanced at Volkit. "Well, almost quiet." Volkit swallowed. "We've, made a training corner in the nursery." He looked away. "You'll love it. We've got bulrushes and moss to help us practice." "He can see it later." Echo Mist silenced her kit. "Right now, he needs sunshine and food." She glanced at Stormkit. "And plenty of it." Even Echo Mist sounded strange. Stormkit frowned. "Oatkit's getting me some fresh kill," he told her. "Stormkit!" Birdsong's mew sounded from the top of the bank. "Is that Stormkit out of the medicine den?" Tinglewhisker appeared beside Birdsong, whose tail curled over her back. Stormkit looked past them to see his father, but Shellheart was already on his paws and bounding down the slope. "Stormkit!" He nudged Stormkit's cheek with his muzzle, as though he hadn't seen his kit in moons. Stormkit wiggled away. "You just saw me yesterday." "It's just good to see you out of the medicine den at last. You have lots to catch up on. I've been giving Oatkit some training to get him ready for his apprenticeship. You need to get to the same level as fast as you can." Stormkit purred. He glanced across the clearing, wondering if Oatkit had found him a fish yet. His belly was growling. He stiffened. Rippleclaw was staring at him from underneath the ancient willow. The silver and black warrior looked away as Stormkit caught his gaze. The whole clan was acting odd. Confused, Stormkit turned back to the friendly faces crowding around him. Everyone was making a fuss, saying how pleased they were to see him, how much they missed him, but there was something peculiar about the way they were looking at him, because they weren't actually looking at him. Stormkit realized with a jolt that, despite the purrs and kind words, none of them was looking directly at his face. A cold chill ran through him. He shouldered his way past Echo Mist and Mudfur and headed for the reed bed. Stormkit? Oak-Kit dropped the fish he was carrying as Stormkit dashed past him. Stormkit stopped at the shore by a patch of clear water and stared down. Stormkit! He hardly heard Oak-Kit's mew. He was staring at the strange cat reflected in the water. That wasn't his face! This cat's jaw was twisted from just below his ear, hardly visible beneath one cheek, sunken horribly beneath the top lip. His nose was stretched sideways and up, and his tongue poked out at one side, lolling between his teeth like a fat pink worm. What happened to me? He whispered. Oak-Kit pressed close to him. You're lucky to be alive, that's what, he mewed fiercely. He stroked Stormkit's spine with his tail. Brumbleberry thought you'd die of shock and then infection. She fought really hard to keep you alive, and Shellheart sat with you night after night. What about Rainflower? Was this why his mother had hardly visited him? Because he was so horrible to look at? Rainflower was upset, Oak-Kit told him. Stormkit felt a flood of guilt. I'm sorry, he whispered. Before, that I hurt Rainflower so much. Don't say that. It wasn't your fault. Oak-Kit's voice sounded as if it was stuck in his throat. Come on. He sat up and nudged Stormkit away from the water's edge with his nose. We're supposed to be fattening you up. Stormkit let his brother guide him toward the fish he dropped. He felt weak. Eat, Oak-Kit ordered, stopping beside the fish. Stormkit crouched down and took a mouthful. He could hardly taste it. All he could think about was how strange it felt when his tongue kept trying to slide out of the side of his mouth. How oddly he had to move his jaw to chew. In the medicine den, it had seemed normal. It's just part of your recovery, Brumbleberry had told him as he clumsily munched the fish she'd brought him. But he was better now, back among his clanmates. Why was eating still so difficult? He must look weird, trying to keep the food from dribbling from the twisted side of his mouth. He glanced up, wondering who was watching. I can't do it, he whispered. Yes, you can. Oak-Kit picked up the fish and carried it to a shadowy spot behind a jutting branch of the fallen tree. Come over here, he beckoned to Stormkit with his tail. It's quiet. You can eat in peace. Oak-Kit pushed the fish towards Stormkit and padded back to the clearing. Stormkit's belly rumbled as if to remind him that he was still hungry. Hidden behind the fallen tree, he took another bite of fish. He glanced up to see if anyone was watching, but Oak-Kit had found him the most private spot in the camp. No one could see him here. Relieved and grateful, Stormkit gulped down the fresh kill. Pain racked along his jaw, but he kept chewing. At last, his belly full, he sat up. A small pile of half-chewed fish sat by his paws, where it had been dribbled from his mouth. Stormkit quickly dug a hole in the soft earth and buried it. He jumped, hot with embarrassment, as Oak-Kit appeared around the end of the branch. Are you done? Stormkit nodded. Come and see the training corner we made in the nursery. Stormkit padded after his brother and squeezed into the nursery. Wow! He stared in delight at the far end of the den. The nest had been pushed back and the moss laid on the floor. Oak-Kit bounded past him and landed on the moss. This is so we can fall without hurting ourselves. What are those? Stormkit glanced up at the fat brown bulrush head sticking out high up the nursery wall. Watch! Oak-Kit crouched, his head tipped back as he focused on the bulrushes. Then he leaped. Mid-leap, he reached out both forepaws and grasped the thick brown rush, then fell back, landing deftly on his hind legs before wrestling it to the ground. That's great! Stormkit felt an urge of excitement. Can I try? Of course, Oak-Kit mewed. That's what it's for. Me and Volkit climb up and thread in fresh bulrushes every morning. It's to practice hunting skills. By the time we start training, we'll be able to hit a mouse from 3 tail lengths away. The den wrestled as Volkit, Beetlekit, and Petalkit fought to squeeze in. Hey, I was first, Beetlekit complained as Petalkit climbed over him and scampered across the nest to the training corner. Have you tried it yet, Stormkit? Volkit demanded. He crouched down, wiggling his hindquarters, and flung himself at the wall and snatched a bulrush head. Stormcat pressed his belly to the floor and looked up. A fat bulrush was dangling teasingly over his head. He narrowed his eyes and leaped. Stretching out his paws, he reached for the long, fuzzy head. His paws clapped together, grabbing the thin air, and he fell back on the moss, panting. Frog dung! You nearly had it, Petalkit mewed encouragingly. Stormcat lashed his tail. Nearly's not good enough. The nest behind him rustled. Echo Mist squeezed into the nursery, her soft gaze on Stormcat. It's good to have you back. Petalkit purred. He's trying the training corner, she mewed. He can jump pretty high already. Volkit stared thoughtfully at the wall. We're gonna have to add more bulrushes. The den trembled. You're not going to clog up that corner with more mess, are you? Rainflower pushed her way in and sat down. She licked her paw and ran it over her pale gray face. Can't you play outside like normal kids? Okay. Oakkit nudged Stormkit toward the entrance. Come on, he called to the others. Let's play moss ball. Beetlecit bounded across the den. I'm catcher, he mewed. You were catcher last time, Petalkit scrambled after him. As his den mates crowded past him, Stormkit stumbled over a pile of woven reeds at the edge of the den. What's this? It looked like a nest. Had a new queen moved to the nursery? Rainflower paused mid-lick. That's your nest, she meowed. My nest? Wouldn't he be sleeping in her nest with Oakkit, like before? You'll need your own space, Rainflower told him. Your jaw must be sore. You'll probably fidget in your sleep. I don't want Oakkit disturbed just because you're injured. Stormkit blinked at his mother. It doesn't hurt now, he mewed. I won't fidget, I promise. Still, it's better if you have your own space. Rainflower returned to her washing. Volkit nudged Stormkit's shoulder. Come on, let's go and play. Stormkit stared at his mother. Was she angry because he'd worried her by being so ill? Shellheart poked his head through the entrance. How are you settling in? I've got my own nest, Stormkit mumbled. Shellheart narrowed his eyes. Have you got your own nest too, Oakkit? Oakkit stared at his paws. Rainflower. Shellheart's mew was more like a growl. I'd like to speak with you outside. The fur along Rainflower's spine bristled as she hopped out of the den. Come on, kids, Echo Mist mewed cheerily. How about another go at the training wall? But we're going outside to play. Beetlecit's mew was drowned by Shellheart's angry snarl beyond the nursery wall. His own nest? He has to grow up eventually, Rainflower answered. But Oakkit can stay in your nest, Shellheart hissed. Stormkit must be used to his own nest after so long in the medicine den. Shellheart snorted. At least you're still calling him Stormkit, and I'll keep calling him that till Hellstar changes his name formally. So you're still determined to rename him Crookedkit? Stormkit froze. Crookedkit? It will suit him. Don't you think it's a bit cruel? If he stayed in camp, he'd never have had that accident. She does blame me. Rainflower carried on. Then he wouldn't be the ugly mess he is now. The icy coldness in his mother's voice made Stormkit feel sick. He'd still be my handsome young warrior. He began to tremble. Soft fur brushed beside him. Echo Mist pressed close as Shellheart growled at his mate. How do you think Stormkit must feel? He'll get used to it, Rainflower retorted. To what? Rage sharpened Shellheart's mew. His new name? Being scarred for life? Being rejected by his own mother? The accident wasn't my fault. I shouldn't have to deal with it, Rainflower spat. Stormkit's chest tightened. A sob welled in his throat. She's grieving, Echo Mist murmured in his ear. She doesn't realize what she's saying. Shellheart's voice was little more than a whisper. I never knew you could be so heartless, Rainflower, he growled. If you insist on Hellstar going ahead with the renaming ceremony, then we are no longer mates. I will never share a den or a press of fresh kill with you again. Very well. Stormkit couldn't listen to it any more. He jumped to his paws and rushed out of the den. Please don't argue. I don't mind sleeping by myself or having a new name. he wailed, but Rainflower was already crossing the clearing to Hellstar's den and didn't seem to hear him. Strom Camp stared pleadingly at Shellheart. Don't argue because of me. It's not because of you. Shellheart wrapped his tail around Strom Camp. It's because of her. He stared after Rainflower, anger flaring in his eyes. Rumbleberry was trotting toward them. How's the nursery? Her cheerful mew faltered as she caught Shellheart's gaze. She turned to see Rainflower disappear into Hellstar's den. She's really going to do it? Shellheart nodded. Rumbleberry closed her eyes for a moment, then blinked them open and stared at Strom Camp. The seasons change, Strom Camp, but RiverClan never stops being RiverClan. Shellheart will always be brave and loyal, whether there is sun or snow on his pelt, and you will always have the heart of a warrior, no matter what your name is. She touched him gently on the head with her muzzle. The trailing moss at the entrance to Hellstar's den quivered, and Hellstar padded out. Rainflower slid out after him. Let all cats old enough to swim gather to hear my words, the RiverClan leader meowed solemnly. Rumbleberry flicked her tail. Perhaps I should change my name. She began to walk toward Hellstar. I should be called Swallowherb, she purred at her own joke. See? She looked over her shoulder at Strom Camp. 'Cause that's what I do. I make cats swallow herbs. Strom Camp padded numbly after her. He tried to purr, but his throat was dry. Rumbleberry halted and looked down at him. StarClan is watching over you, she told him. Her blue eyes met his. This is part of a destiny only they understand. But you must believe that they are guiding all of us, and that they care about you just as much as any cat in RiverClan. Strom Camp blinked as the medicine cat turned and trotted away. He wanted to believe her, but why would StarClan let something so unfair happen to him? Troutclaw, Birdsong, and Tingle Whisker headed down the slope as Echo Mist herded Volkit, Petalkit, and Beetlekit from the nursery. How can he change someone's name before they're an apprentice? Volkit was protesting. Shh! Echo Mist hurried him on with a nudge of her nose. Hellstar waited with Rainflower beside him, while the clan gathered at the edge of the clearing. What's going on? Shimmerpelt whispered. Followtail shrugged. No idea. It's too soon for the kids to have their apprentice names. Softpaw lifted her chin. Maybe we're going to get our warrior names, she hissed to Whitepaw. Whitepaw glanced questioningly at his mentor, but Timberfur was whispering something to Ottersplash, his eyes dark. Stormkit's heart quickened. He tried to catch Rainflower's eye, but she stared straight ahead. Stormkit, come here. Hellstar's mew was soft. Stormkit padded, trembling, into the clearing. He looked blindly around. The familiar faces seemed strange, menacing all of a sudden. Was this a bad dream? I've gathered the clan to witness the giving of your name. I'm sorry you have suffered so much. The whole clan knows how brave you've been. His mew was gentle with sympathy. Your new name may describe your face, young kid, but it doesn't describe your heart. I know you are true and loyal as any warrior. Bear your name bravely as a kit, and nobly when you become a warrior. Stormkit nodded. From this day forward, you shall be known as Crookedkit. Stormkit tried not to hear the murmur of shock that swept around the clan. He stared past Hellstar, confusion clouding his thoughts. But I was born in a storm. I'm Stormkit. How could he ever be Stormstar now? Suddenly he glimpsed an orange and white pelt in the shadow of the sedges. The cat from the river, her pelt shimmering as though caught in a haze. He tasted the air and felt only the familiar scent of his clanmates. She must be a StarClan cat. StarClan is watching over you. Rumbleberry's words rang in his head. Had the orange and white cat been sent to remind him of their promise? Don't worry, little one, he heard her words again. It's not your time yet. You have a great destiny ahead of you. Crookedkit, he murmured his name. I am Crookedkit. He glanced around his clanmates. No one met his gaze. Only the shimmering orange and white cat. Her amber eyes shone, unblinking at him. She believes in me. With a rush of hope, Crooked Kit lifted his chin. I am Crooked Kit, he repeated.